Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. I think I may have stumbled upon something that's really interesting here on the Gotham Knights sub. I don't know what this really means, but I intend to do a little bit more investigation because I'm actually much more curious now. So again, this is a continuation of our last video where one of my audience members here, I think some of you had actually mentioned a few things about this, but more recently was one of my audience members, Leche, who said, hey, you need to go check out the Gotham Knights sub. I went ahead and I joined and I've been gleaning, and this one strikes me as very interesting. So apparently, it seems somebody is tracking the change logs for the Gotham Knights page on Steam. And apparently, it appears that there are some sort of update measures that are actually being made to the game itself. So this post here says, game keeps getting updated every 1 or 2 days. Today we've had 6 or so as far as of posting this. No doubt they're fixing the game without having the token released to the Steam platforms. So apparently, people are asking, so what does this even mean? I think the original poster, Suspicious Tension, basically says, instead of releasing a full build, which means a page getting the token which has the account that has the game in their Steam library, they're just rolling out updates every few days. And so what he's saying is, he says, so this is what the token would do. This program connects to your Steam account using SteamKit library, similar to how Steam bots work. After logging in, it requests all app tokens, packages, and depot description keys that your account owns and has access to. And all this information is the same to every Steam user, but requires owning the content to actually request it. Since it's not reasonable for us to buy or bought every single game on Steam, we chose to crowdsource this data. However, if you've taken part in a closed or limited beta, developers may still figure out who the submitter may be through the process of elimination. If you're in a closed or limited beta, have a non-disclosure agreement, or otherwise do not want to leak private information, do not use this program. So instead, they are running the updates little by little. So apparently, people who may have been people who are using some Steam bots are able to kind of see this stuff, and it's actually interesting. So this is some of the back-end development stuff in terms of how people are able to glean some Steam data that is related to the Gotham Knights game. Ladies and gentlemen, on the development side, I've said this before, that I felt when they showed us the Gotham Knights, trailer, that it seemed a little rough. But the biggest challenge, in my opinion, was optimizing the game for multiple different platforms. There are multiple platforms out there that Gotham Knights is going to be coming on, and PC, maybe might have a little bit of interesting, I would say, I don't know, complexities to it. But someone also replied to that particular sentiment and said, one of the really interesting things about developing for PC is you just use an API that can do a lot of the scaling in terms of the different kinds of PCs that you have, different graphics cards, different chips, different setups, just to make sure that the game can play at a nice fidelity based on the kind of build that you have. But then there's a possibility of Stadia, and then in my opinion, the PlayStation 4 and even the Xbox One versions. But here's the thing. If you think about the development of this particular game, I have said that, having to balance the game for all the different platforms might be an issue. And yes, to an extent, but something I never necessarily considered was when the game first started its development, what consoles did we have at that time? And if you try to maybe go back, you'll see that the developers, basically have their LinkedIn and gives you kind of a date or, some sort of a timeline. So I go back to when Patrick Redding joined the studio. Patrick Redding is the creative director, and he joined the studio in 2014. At this time, the PlayStation 3 consoles and the Xbox One consoles were the consoles that were basically the hottest thing on the market. So perhaps, in my opinion, they have this game in a sense, or they have been developing this game on those platforms. It just happens to be that the new platforms are here, and it might be that getting a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series versions are actually where they're actually putting a lot of their focus. Because if they have already started developing these games, or had already started developing these games before the new console, test kits or dev kits were given to them, then I think they already kind of had that at the back of their mind. And then having to provide things like maybe 4K, maybe upscaling the game at better quality, and all of those things that come with the new consoles might be where things are at. And if they decide that they want to go ahead and put a Stadia version, or maybe an Amazon, I think it's Amazon Luna or Lunia, whatever it is, then you also have to kind of make some concession as to how, the game is going to run, because those games, they kind of are run on machines based on the server of the provider of the streaming service. And so they have to kind of maybe figure out how they want to do it. If it's going to be 4K streaming and all of those different things, those are considerations that they have to make as well. But again, I think of all that we've seen, more than anything, it may have been the medical issues that had caused this particular game to be heavily delayed. And so now everything seems to be lining up very, very carefully. And based on the information of them having to continue to put updates, which is normal, just means that they're back at work, or they're still actively at work and making a lot of different, tweaks and changes to the game. I myself, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can open a Steam development account. It's $100 to do it. And I've wanted to do it because of some of my projects that I've been working on Unreal Engine. And I really want to see what all of that requires you to do as a developer. And I'm going to go back and look at this information here on this, on the Steam page, on the subreddit, just to be able to kind of figure out, how these may tie into the progress of the game. So again, I just want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. This is some really interesting stuff. I just want to go ahead and say I appreciate you guys so much for all of your input. You guys are the ones that are basically building this community and building this channel, because you guys are kind of, in a sense, very cerebral and, smart about these things. So it's really cool to have you guys on deck and just, being able to kind of just point in different directions for some really critical information for this community. I'll talk to you guys in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Peace out.